To Making It Monday with yours truly, Lizzie. I'm glad you could join me. If you're watching it live, then great. Join in, ask questions. I'll try. I'm terrible at it, but I'll try and pick some questions up. If you're watching afterwards, ask a question anyway, because one of us, one of me or the team will pick it up. In fact, one of the ladies themselves will probably pick it up. Yes, so it's we're on the downward slope now for Making It Mondays. We made the decision not to continue anymore after the end of June. And actually, we've got 2 weeks off in June as well. So I think we've got about three, after tonight, we've got about 3 more to go. So looking forward to getting those done for you. And then, of course, we'll have nearly, I suppose, 130 patterns there for you. We will revisit them from time to time. We'll do remakes of the old makes. We will revamp some of the old makes. So although we won't be here perhaps every Monday at 7 o'clock, we will be doing things. So don't fret. I'm not going to abandon you. How could I possibly do that? So we're going to just change our adventures just a little bit, just to freshen things up. I know a lot of you kind of bookmark the 7 o'clock slot on a Monday, and I appreciate that. So from time to time we will be doing things at 7 o'clock on a Monday. Don't worry, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. And of course today I suggested that we should do the 4 days of, well, I've put that it'll be July, so I've got to think of a more suitable title than the 4 days of July, but we'll come up with a title for it, and we'll come up with a project that will take us over 4 days. I mean, there's no bank holidays in July, so maybe, I don't know, you tell me what would be a good time. We've got part school holidays in there, haven't we? So maybe it's something like, let's celebrate school holidays. Maybe some of you don't want to. School holidays are always good though, weren't they? Because you got a chance to do things with the kids, and even if you work full time like I did all of my life, you always found time to have, you know, a bit of annual leave here and there to take the kids to some of the places that that you want to go to as well. I always like going to the zoo. I just love seeing the animals. I'd much prefer they were in their natural surroundings, as obviously a lot of us would, but you know, this is the next best thing. So it's quite a nice thing for me to do as a grandma. I've taken all of the kids to the zoo at some point, although I do remember taking them at one point. I think it was just I don't think it was Sebby. It might have just been Jade and Lily. And Lily cried. She didn't like it. She could hear the lions roar and thought, no, I'm not having any of that. I'm off. I think we were there about 30 minutes. I think it cost me about 60 quid to get in. I don't resent it at all. It's lovely. It was lovely to spend some time with them. Anyway, yes, so you come up with some ideas. I'll have a little look. 4 days of summer, Jackie. I like that. 4 days of summer. Do you think it will be just the 4 days of summer that we get? Oh my goodness me. We crave for the warmth, don't we? We don't want it too hot. We don't like it too cold. We're a fickle bunch. So do you think it's tempting fate by saying it's the 4 days of summer? That's the only days that we get sunshine. I don't know. I just saw it quite as a funny title. But yes, that's not a bad one, Jackie. I'm not knocking it. Anyway, you come up with some ideas. 4th of July. Yeah, well, because you see, you know, I've told you many times, the village that I live in, I would imagine 50% are American and 50% obviously are Brits. And we get on really well, you know, they do their thing, we do our thing, and we do our things together. But 4th of July, of course, around here is quite noisy, and so perhaps that's not a good time because I'm surrounded by Americans, so they'll all be celebrating, and the barbecues will be wafting in through the windows, and yeah, so maybe not. If you're in Scotland, it'll be the 4 Seasons. Actually, the 4 Seasons is quite a good title. 4 Seasons, that might set me on the path of what the project will be. Yeah. That's not a bad idea, Jackie. you're getting good, aren't you? Getting good coming up with these ideas. Oh, what's this? Rosemary. No, don't call it that. As M&S did 5 days of summer, and that year that's all we got. Well, exactly, Rosemary. I mean, I daren't call it the 4 days of summer, can I? I can see emails are coming. No, Ben, not. I'll stick to something simple. Oh, anyway, right. So we're here for the Making It Monday. There'll be things that I need to tell you. And obviously I can't remember one word of it. I didn't make myself a list, which I do like to do a list and have it in front of me. I didn't do that. So we'll have to either trust on my memory, which is rubbish, or we just wait for another time, basically. So if you're a Platinum member, we do have a Platinum Facebook page now, and every single one of the Making It Monday patterns are in there. That's 126 or 7. We lost count after a little while, and then we've forgotten to add on these last few weeks. So I think it's about 127, something like that. And all of those are in the files. So if you become a Platinum member, all of the Making It Monday projects are in there for you. So you just got to be in the group, look in the files, and they're all there, which is a lovely treat. Obviously all of the Making It Monday projects will stay on the website and all the video tutorials as well. I think some people were thinking I was closing it all down completely. I don't know why I would do that. No, it doesn't cost me anything to keep them there, so that's where they're going to stay. The Making It Monday group that we're in, that we're not in now, but that we all belong to, I think it's about 4,500 people in that group, that will stay open. That will be still for posting MIM pictures. If you make anything over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever, you can still post your pictures of Making It Monday projects in there. But what is exciting, who said it was raining? Chris says it's greetings from a rainy day in Georgia. Oh, Chris, I'm so sorry. Mind you, that might be quite nice to have a bit of rain, is it? Sometimes it's nice, isn't it? Cools everything down. Yes, but if you have done the 12 days of Christmas, the 4 days of Easter, and the 4 days of July, you can post your pictures in there as well. So it'll be, the Making It Monday group will not only be for Making It Monday pictures, but for the project pictures as well, which is great because it means you've got a platform to show off your stuff. But it won't be any make. It won't be, a pattern that you've bought online from some other person. It'll be either Making It Monday makes or project makes. So in other words, 12 days of Christmas, 4 days of Easter, 4 days of July. Then we'll stick to that. And of course, Helena says she wishes she had some rain. Well, yes, there's a lot of, I think you've got fires at the moment, haven't you, Helena? I'm so sorry. Must be dreadful. And all that smoke, I know, it just must be awful. So let's wish some rain on Helena. We all got to do a rain dance now for Helena. So what else was I going to say? Yes, so that Making It Monday group will stay open, and that's what it will be for, which will be lovely, lovely, lovely. Don't forget also that I'm now on this page, I'm doing Wednesday makes. So if you're interested in having your make shown off, then email me a picture of whatever you've made. Doesn't matter what it is, anything. But we don't have designer names, but anything that you've made. Then you can email it to me and I will post it in my Wednesday Makes post every week. That's something new, and I've got to remember that that's something new and do it, because I only remembered tonight to remind everybody about it. So never mind. So we are going to be making Acacia. What a lovely name. I love that word, Acacia. The acacia tree, because we're all about trees this month. Now, doesn't look much from that picture. Very difficult to photograph something like that. But it's actually Here Comes Summer, Janice. Is that a title of a song? Would I get done for copyright? Have to be very careful these days. Anyway, it's very pretty. 4 days of Christmas in July. Actually, July is traditionally in the craft world, like craft telly and all that, Christmas is always in July. And at my online sewing group, sorry guys, but it will be Christmas in July. Maybe yummy. But then some people really don't like it, do they? Because it's really out of season. So, oh, I might have to sit on the fence, get some splinters. I don't mind. I'll take the splinters for you. Right. So anyway, we're making Acacia, and if I don't crack on soon, we'll never make it. Heydays and holidays, like that, Rosemary. Heydays and holidays. Is that a title of a song? Got to be careful. Got to be careful. The other thing is, if you haven't seen my post about the sewing bee. Kim Suleiman, Sixpenny Memories, and Alistair MacDonald London, I think it's called, isn't he? Anyway, they are doing a sewing bee natter show, and they're inviting guests every week for the duration of the sewing bee to critique the sewing bee, and they've asked me to do it on week 2. So the first week, which is next week, is John Scott, and then it's me. And then I don't know what the lineup is, but you've got some interesting people in there. And if you haven't joined already, join Alistair's YouTube channel. The link is in the post that I did, and you'll be able to see us all critiquing. What a lovely word. Anyway, Acacia, which is another lovely word. We will make this in a minute. So it's a lovely little make. Look, it's very, very simple. My gosh, it couldn't be any more simple. But I have to say, it's a useful make, because I don't know about you, but I've got a saucepan where the what do you call it, silicone stuff is starting to part from the metal handle. I should get a new saucepan. I know, I've had it 20 years. Why don't I just get a new saucepan? But I can make this for a couple of £, if that. It's the ice cream man. Have I got time? Mr. Whippy? Oh, yeah, he always come at the wrong time. Anyway, you could make this for £1 or £2 and you wouldn't need to buy a new saucepan. That's what I'm trying to say. Plus, I've got saucepan handles that get hot, and I swear they shouldn't. Up the handle, stainless steel, I don't know what they are, but they do get hot. So we do need just these simple little things to help us in the kitchen. And quite honestly, when you've got it hanging up, if you press it almost, if you give it a good press and hang it up, won't that look pretty? Or you could put it that way really, couldn't you? So you've got the pretty side showing. And I put the flower deliberately in the middle, a fussy cut. I'm going to take one for the motorhome. And I've got one, I'm going to have one in the kitchen here. But yeah, it's a lovely little make. So that's literally all it is. But it's got quilting, we're using thermolam. So there's lots of things that we're going to do that you can then move on to other projects. If you're making a little purse or a clutch bag or a wallet, anything like that, quilting is quite a nice thing to do. And actually I've done 1-inch quilting. I don't think I said that in the pattern. But I've got the video. But you could do 1/2 inch, if you're very careful with your straight stitching, you could make it even smaller and daintier. I think that would be really pretty. So without further ado, I'm going to start. I'm going to try and follow the pattern. I'm usually rubbish at that, but we'll give it a go. Right, a must for iron skillets, Chris. Yes, and I've got one of those, and although I don't use it very much, but it's anything like that, and you just need to grab something that's small, because you can get oven gloves, but I don't think I've got small hands, but I find them too clumsy. They're too big and too clumsy, whereas this is very dainty. So in the pattern, in my tips and suggestions, I've suggested that you could enlarge it for the man in your life if he's doing the barbecue, as boys do. Well, girls as well. Everybody does. But if you want to make them bigger. So it's just a nice little size. I didn't want anything too big. I wanted to do an oven glove, but I didn't want to. I don't use an oven, I'll be honest. I don't ever use my oven. So I've got a halogen. So just a little thing is perfect. So that's what we're going to make. If I get to move on. So first thing we're going to do, welcome to my desk, is we'll have a look at the bits. So we've just got easy peasy lemon squeezy, a couple of rectangles, and if you can't afford to buy the pattern, I'm sure you'll be able to copy. So a couple of rectangles, and then we've got another little rectangle for the strap, so we're going to stitch that. We've got a pocket. This already has the thermolam in. I've actually done thermolam on my pockets tonight. In the pattern I used wadding, 80-20 wadding, I actually state that, but I've decided to use some thermolam, only because I've got scraps. So I thought, you know what, I'll use that up. I've quilted the two. I've left the blue lines on so you can see what it looks like. And there's thermolam in here as well. So there's thermolam on the back of the outer. So that's as clear as mud. So let's do the drawing and the quilting for the other pockets. So I hope you're all well. Tell me what you've been up to, because I've missed you, because I haven't been around for ages and ages. Right, let's just quickly talk about this. So you tell me what you've been doing and I'll chat about this. Now, you'll see, and if I just move that slightly, because it's hanging off my desk here, what I like to do is start on a corner. You don't have to start on a corner if you don't want to, but it's a good starting point, and why not? So what you also need is the 45-degree line. Okay, so on your ruler, can you see 45? You got that line, and what you need to do is to put that line against the straight edge, and this is the rule of thumb for everything really. So you've got the 45-degree line along that straight edge, along in the fold of your pocket, because this is on a fold. Okay, it's one long piece folded in half. So we're going to keep that 45-degree on there. I'm going to go from corner to, well, it's not on, it's just past the middle. So you can see that lovely line there. I'm using a heat erasable pen. You can use whatever pen or chalk that you prefer. And all I'm going to do now is I've got my 1-inch line here, and I'm going to pop it on the top of that line there. And this is where you could go horribly wrong if you don't. What you really want to do is not see the blue line. So if I did like that, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but there's the blue line there. You can see it. So keep it so you've hidden it basically. So that's all you're doing. And then we're just drawing the line. Now, when you come to the corners, obviously you need that one, but there might be a time when you only have a little squitty one there. I wouldn't bother doing it. So once we've done those, we need to flip that around, okay, and put our 1-inch ruler on there as well. So our 1-inch ruler mark on the blue line. You can no longer see it. It's like a magic trick. And then just draw that line in again, and just carry on until you've covered the whole pocket, well, both pockets and the outer. Now obviously I've done the other pocket and the outer just to make sure that I'm a little bit ahead of the game, because I obviously talk far too much and I'm never on time, unlike Kath, who's always on time. She's very good. So there's our one set of diagonals, and now we're going to do the other set. So this time I want to go from that corner there, okay, but instead of using the 45-degree line, because I'm going to trust what I've done, I'm actually going to put the straight lines of my ruler against the straight lines of what I've drawn basically, so you can see they're lovely and straight. Now I can't see right over the top of that, but you want to once again cover up your blue lines. I'm going from that corner, as I've done here, down to here, okay? So just do your lines again. So we do some of it and then we turn it around and do the other. And obviously you might want to move it so you've got a different sort of, because I've got this V at the top here, okay, and a half a square there, but you might want to move it so you've got a whole square. But you work it out. You work it out. My life's too short to worry about that. But that might be something that really irritates you. So we've done half. So we turn it around, and that's the line we're going to put our 1-inch line on again. And don't worry about your horizontal lines. As long as you've got your ruler against that first line, then you're perfect. There we go. So pretty much let's turn it so the fold's in the right place. Put my pen away. So we're pretty much equal. I mean, it's not bad. I've seen better. But we've got a nice set of squares going down the centre, which makes it look pretty, doesn't it? So what we're going to do is we're going to stitch this together. I'm just going to move a couple of bits and then bring you in on the side camera, and we'll stitch this together. Now, I like to do a really lovely long stitch, you know, like I've got it on 3.5. But you might find that too much. It might, and because the longer the stitch, the faster you'll stitch, okay? So you might want to turn that down. So 3 is good, or you can just do it your regular 2.5. To be honest, if you were hand quilting this, you might do it tiny. So maybe you want to do it tiny. Maybe you could hand stitch this and do like a sashiko. It wouldn't be traditional sashiko, but you could do a sashiko stitch all the way through those lines. So, you know. So I'm going to start in the corner. You can start where you like. You can start over here if you want to, but well, let's do that. I mean, I would normally start here, but I better be good. So I'm going to just whiz along these. So like I said, it's on 3.5, so it's quick. And I'm lucky because I can break my threads. Now, when we're doing the raw edge to the raw edge, we don't have to do a back stitch, okay? Because that's all going to be in a seam. So you can just start and stop, and you can just snip your threads at the end, okay? When we come to the top of the pocket where the fold is, then we're going to do something a little bit different, okay? So it's nice and neat. So just follow your lines, and like I said, don't forget, if you lengthen your stitch, you'll stitch quicker. Right, so look, this is the edge of my pocket here. This is the fold. Now, we definitely don't want a bird's nest if we can help it. With this machine, I generally do. So I'm going to pull that thread. Do you see that? I don't know if you can see that, but this is the thread, there we are. I'm going to pull that thread so it's out of the way. I'm going to keep my finger there on it. I'm going to put my foot down, and I'm going to do just one or two stitches. Well, one would have been enough. I'm going to go back 2. One would be enough, and just to make a neat start to that stitching. But at the end where the raw edge is, I'm not bothered. Okay, so doing that again, I'm just going to hold on to my long thread because my machine sucks this thread in and makes a right old bird's nest. So I'm holding that thread. I'm going to do 1 stitch, I'm going back 1 stitch, and then I'm coming forward. That's all you need to do. Don't do great masses of back stitching, it's so ugly, so ugly. And just a little project like this, you want it neat. And if you're going to have these on a craft stall, you want them to look amazing. So just 1 little back stitch should be enough. Oh, I feel like I'm telling you off and you haven't done anything. Oh dear, that's because I've been out with Abigail today. We went shopping. I don't know if, did you see, if you belong to her Instagram, did you see her Instagram post today? It was so funny. Debbie says, mine doesn't bird's nest. I'll try this. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to guarantee anything, but that's the back. Can you see? And it's not too bad. Normally, I don't know if it shows on the other one because I did snip it quite well. Ah, it's not bad. I haven't snipped everything. So on the other one, can you see what a mess it makes? And that's just me hurrying to get this done for you. So if you do what I've said, then you'll have threads that you'll need to cut off, but you'll end up with a nice neat start to your top of your pocket, yeah? So let's just stitch the other ones now. So I'm going to be good. So actually I'm starting on the fold. So once again, I'm going to hold that thread, 1 stitch, back 1 stitch, and then across, and then down. I can see the thread. Ideally it wants to be the other side. Just 1 stitch, and then across. And it's worth the effort, you know. If it's for you, perhaps it's not worth the effort. But if you're making this for a friend, which would be lovely, I'd like a friend that would make me things like this, then you want it neat. You want to just, you know, try your best. So that thread has come this side this time. So I'll just take advantage. And all this quilting can be done in a jiffy. I'm just slowing it down because I need to, yeah? So I'm right in the corner, so I'm not going to backstitch. I'm just going to zoom it along. And I'm going to turn that around because I do prefer it with most of the bulk this side. I was stitching strips today, strips together today, 12 strips, and I didn't heed my own advice, and my advice is always to turn your work so it doesn't become like a banana. So I ended up with this banana, and which I then had to cut again because I'm doing some Bargello work, and oh, honestly, what a twit! I kicked myself because I knew that I should have turned my work. So in other words, what I'm saying is, let me just show you, just snip these ends off. Let's just try and do that without cutting the fabric. So for instance, if you were joining a strip, you would come down and then you wouldn't just go back up to the top and stitch the next strip. You'd strip from the bottom up and then the top down and then the bottom up, top down. That way you don't get a banana. So it's always worth heeding your own advice. Okay, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to magically get rid of these blue lines. I'll take my iron down a bit. Now, I don't know if any of you watched Abby on her, it might have been in her subscribers group, but she was, yes, it was her subscribers group, and she was having a look at a different iron, and I must admit, it looks like a beauty. I don't know if I'm allowed to say because it was her group, but, ooh, tricky one. But needless to say, it was a little, well, a tenth of the price almost. Well, not quite as much, but it was a lot cheaper than a prim iron, and it seems to do a really good job. So yeah, good for her for finding it, and good for her for telling her subscribers about it. So the other thing to remember is when you put this on your lining, which we'll do now, just make sure that you've got it so the pretty side, in other words, where you've made an effort with your back stitch and made it look pretty, put that on your lining face up. So we'll do that in a sec. So let's just take the lines off of this. So it looks really messy with the blue, and it's always nice to do a nice clean job by taking those blue lines off. And just make sure that that all comes off. There we go, and it just changes the dynamics of it completely. It's lovely, lovely. Okay, Cindy says she got one of the irons. Oh, good. I must go and get one. It's from one of those supermarkets that sells cheap fabric and stuff. I don't know. I suppose I can say, but I don't want to. If Abigail's on and she says that, that's fine. Let's have a look. What are you making? It's the latest Mim, Leanna, you know, that's what we do on a Monday. Kath says, and quite rightly so, the thermalam gives lovely quilting definition. Yes, it does. Quite different to wadding. It really does look smart, doesn't it? And it makes a huge difference to how your end product looks with that sort of quilting. Janet says, I tried, but they'd sold out. Oh, Abigail says, Wilco. I'm glad she was listening. So don't forget, we're putting the pretty side up. So when I say pretty side, it's the side where you've made an effort, okay, and you've backstitched and everything looks gorgeous. So with any luck, they should just sit nicely on top of there. So let's put a few pins in just to hold them in place. And the main thing is you're putting, you've got your right side here and you've got your right side facing here, okay? And you might find when you turn this through that the pockets are on the quilted side. And if anybody has ever made my one-piece purse, that will have happened, perhaps that would have happened to them as well. And it's only, you've only got to turn it round the other way. I'll tell you what else it does. One of the Mims is a sunglasses case, and that will turn out. So the pockets are, so the lining side of the sunglasses case is on the pretty side, the outside of the fabric, and you've just got to literally flip it over, yeah. And you don't think, you think it's like, you know, a bit of a puzzle, but you just got to turn it through. Wilco, thanks Abby. I was going to say Aldi. As much as I can remember about stuff. Oh, so I'm in terrible troubles with my words today. Okay, so what we're going to do is baste these two pockets on. Okay, so it's nice and easy. This is the lining, so don't think this is the outer, this is the lining. It's completely uninterfaced. Is that a bad bit of English there? It is not interfaced, it's just plain lining. It might be too much with interfacing. Right, so I'm going to keep on my long stitch because I'm just basting these layers together, and I suppose I'm about 1/8 of an inch. And if your pieces don't match up and you don't catch the lining everywhere, don't worry. Let's just make sure that doesn't wriggle. Sometimes that has wriggled a bit, look, can you see? I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit of a pleat going on there, which is unfortunate. But you see, what you need is your stiletto. Use your stiletto. So yeah, about 1/8 of an inch. All we're doing is securing the layers together so nothing wriggles, so everything keeps where it should do. Makes it super duper easy. I think basting is very underestimated. Just make sure your pockets are lying flat. Can you see? Nice and flat. When you come up to this other edge here, this time we use our stiletto to hold it down and hold it in place. Just be careful of your needle. Once it's grabbed, you don't need the stiletto anymore. Get that pin out of the way. We don't machine pins, ladies, do we? No, we don't. You know the tale of when I stitched over a pin and it snapped and it went in my eye. Yes, it did. Now I'm wearing glasses, that doesn't happen. So there you go, there's your two pockets on. Don't they look gorgeous? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Jeanette says, I've been using my stiletto a lot with watching your lives. It makes things so much easier. It absolutely does, Jeanette. It absolutely does. Look at that. It's beautiful. And I think the long stitches, you can see them, can't you? And I think that makes a difference. Abigail says, just finished my quilt top. Now I can concentrate. Abigail, is that your quilt top, or is it the quilt top that you're making for somebody? What did you? Oh, you didn't name it, did you? I'm thinking of your because you did a 12-week course. I'm not going to say anything to ruin it, but you did a 12-week course, and they finished the course on Friday, so I'm assuming you meant that. Anyway, it could be for the lady that you're making the quilt for. You'll have to let us know. Oh, the gift one. Oh my gosh. Started at 10:30 and just finished. Oh my gosh. Are you going to show it? Are you going to put it in your Get Sewing with Abigail page when you've gifted it? Oh my gosh, that's quick. Right, we're going to do the strap. Now this isn't, I've done it by the pattern, but you might want to make it longer. The one that I've put on my original one is longer, so you might want to make it longer. Just see how you feel about it. But I'm happy with just a little one. When we fold it in half, you can see, take a 1/4 inch away. That's just a nice size loop. Okay, so you decide whether that's good enough for you, okay? So I'm keeping it on my long stitch, so I'm still on 3.5, and I'm going to stitch my 2 folded edges together first. You can do it the other way if you like, and then just across the bottom and then up the other side to make it nice and neat. If your machine doesn't like little pieces of fabric, then use a leader and a follower, and you'll find that works a treat. Does everybody know what a leader and a follower is? Because I can show you if you don't know. Okay, so there's our little loop. So we're just going to fold it in half. Actually, I like the other half because it's got a bit of red on it. And we're going to stitch that. Now then, in the pattern I say find the middle of your outer and pop it in there. That would be upside down, I think, so we could pop it in there. Okay, so in the pattern that's what I tell you. It doesn't matter if you put it in your lining instead. It matters absolutely not. Abigail is a leader, I'm just a follower. Oh, that's Adrienne. Zippy Doodle. Oh, Zippy Doodle's got some lovely things coming. I hope you've been watching her pages and her Instagrams and all of the things that she does. Oh my goodness me. We're testing out that's the royal we. She, Abigail, I know Adrienne is testing out new fabrics, which is just awesome. So that'll be fun to see what happens. So anyway, we'll put it on the outside because that's what I've said, but if you put it on the lining, it matters not, okay? So what we're going to do is find the centre. You don't have to, this is not rocket science, you don't have to be exact, but it's nice if you are. So find the centre and put a little mark, or you could put a pin, or you can cut a notch, okay? But I've made just a little mark there. Lots of ways you can do these things, which is super, super duper. Gosh, I've got bits all over me. Right, so let's just baste that in there as well now. Now, the secret to basting something like this is if you start from here, okay, got it? And then chunter, chunter, chunter over your tab and over to the other side, you might find that the top part of the tab moves, and so you get a wonky tab. Nothing wrong with a wonky. And then you might end up with it twisted like that, okay? Now the secret to this is, okay, you can pin it, but you know we don't sew over pins. What you can do is you start in the middle. You put your presser foot on the top of the tab. You can put your needle in as well, and that is completely locked, all layers in place. So you can go forwards and backwards from there. So what's this? Leanna. I haven't been on my sewing machine since August last year. Crikey! Oh my goodness, what would I do if I did that? I don't know what I'd do. So I've gone past 1/2 inch. Leanna, you need to get it out because I know that you've got a lot of the nim patterns. And then just come back, and then you can see that it's absolutely spot on. So remember that little tip. There we go. Priceless. Priceless tips. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to round our corners off, which is really nice. I like rounding corners off. Makes everything super neat. And recently I showed I think I showed my members, my online sewing group, this ruler. It's in my Amazon shop. There's all sorts of rulers by all sorts of makers, and you can buy whatever you can afford or what you prefer, okay? I'm only saying that as a disclaimer almost. Now look, you could use a lid. I've used lids for years, but it's nice to have a tool, especially for this sort of thing. And I think from memory I used this 1.5 inch rounded corner. There's a 2 inch, which is a bit too big, isn't it, for our project? And obviously the 3 inch is ridiculous. But if you're making a bag, that would be super. If you're making a pouch, that would be lovely with the 2 inch. So it's horses for courses, isn't it? So with our 1.5 inch, I'm going to draw and then cut, okay? But what I'm going to do first of all, I'm just going to make sure that, I know I'm doing this correctly, but I just want to make sure that I've got this right. So we're going to do right sides together like that. Okay, now you might find at this point that some of it doesn't fit. Now, the reason why some of it might not fit is because when you've quilted that, it can shrink it. And if you like, you could add a ½ an inch to the measurements, okay, ½ an inch to the measurements, and then trim it back, because your lining won't have changed, okay? So you might find that to be quite a useful little tip, is to quilt your pieces a little bit bigger than your lining. Now, if you wonder what that tape is there, that's deliberate. It's actually wadding joining tape. I can't remember the proper name for it. Somebody will tell me. And it's sticky on one side. It's not Bondaweb, and it's not what you do hems with. Nothing like that. This is non-sticky on this side. But what I had a little cut in my fabric here. This is going to be on the inside of the pocket, so it doesn't matter. But I used the wadding joining tape to actually mend it, and it's invisible almost once it's mended. So it's quite a useful product actually. I use it quite a bit. So it might be something that you're interested in. I'm not sure. I don't think I've got it in my shop. I can't even remember what it's called, let's be honest. So I've just got my layers nicely pinned together, so everything is stable. You want it to be nice and stable. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw, and we'll draw. You can draw on that side, but it's fluffy and you might find it a little bit tricky. So draw on the back of your lining and make sure that your ruler is on the raw edges. It's always difficult for me to see because I'm not quite on the I'm not on overhead. So just draw as much as you need to get a curve. Basting tape, is that what it is, Wendy? Basting tape? I don't know if it's basting tape. I don't want to criticise it, but it's not for basting, it's for joining two pieces of wadding like that. So if you've got scraps of wadding that you want to use for a project, you butt them up like that and you use the tape to join them together. Okay, that's what it's for. I wouldn't have said it was basting. I might be completely wrong though, but good suggestion. That's probably what it is completely. The trade name is Heat Press. Thank you, Kath. Oh, it is on Amazon. Excellent. Let's just move that out of the way. I think I probably did get it originally from Amazon, but I don't think I put it in my shop. Not that that matters. You can still go and get it. Right, so we've curved off the corners, so now we're just going to cut. Now I have got a super duper pair of scissors, which obviously I don't have next to me. I have got my Karen Buckley though, which are a very good second because we're going through a lot of layers. So you might want to do individual layers, okay? But these should go through easily. And the other thing is, what you could do is that you could sew all this together, and you're obviously going to sew. Let me get my pen. So you're obviously going to sew here, yeah? Can you see that? And we're going to cut this, but you could stitch that and then cut, okay? If you want to do, that's easier perhaps, because you can pink in shears afterwards. So we'll just trim those away. See how that's what the pattern says. But yeah, so you could stitch, so you're not stitching on the line that you've drawn, you're stitching 1/4 inch in. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, I'm sure it does. You're all very clever. And the third one. So I'm hoping, because this is such a lovely, easy peasy pattern, I'm hoping to see a few of these in the Making It Monday group. That would be lovely. And if you're not a member, do join. It's lovely to see everybody's makes. I bet Marge and Diana are making one. Jackie says you sound as though you've got a cold. No, maybe a bit of hay fever. No, I haven't got a cold. I'm fine. I'm fine. Right, so now we've got right sides together of all of our pieces. Our tab, our little hanger is stuffed inside there, and all we're going to do now is stitch around here. Now we need to leave a turning gap, and the best place really is on one of these long sides here. If you did a turning gap here, not only have you got all of that pocket and you've got the wadding as well, so that's a little bit tricky. At least with this side you've got an inch and a bit that's not wadding. You've got just the lining, so it's not so bad. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to stitch that together. So nice and easy, nice and easy. Oh, hello to Kerry. And Chris says TMI. What does TMI mean? Am I being thick? Right, so I'm going to turn my stitch length down now to 2.5. If you're stitching curves, it's always better to go smaller. Diana says, yes, I'm joining in, but a bit behind as chose a fancy stitch. What, for your quilting, Diana? Fantastic. So start off with a little back stitch because you need a little bit of stability where you're going to turn through, because there's not much of a... I can't remember how long did I say? Approximately 2 inches, I said. Turning gap of about 2 inches. Just ease that round. Really, we should be using our stiletto. And if you've got a walking foot, because you've got layers, get your walking foot on it, because the fabric loves to move when you've got layers. Just work your way around those curves. They're not too bad, the curves, but you still need to be careful. Don't forget we're leaving our gap here, so I'll have a look at that when I come round. Marge says, yes, I'm sewing along, but I've had to make it smaller as I have little hands. Oh, Marge, that's nice. Got little hands. Have you got little feet as well? Does that work out like that, does it? I've no idea. Right, all the way round. Here we go. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just lifting up my presser foot just to come around those corners. And my turning up, I started here, look. So I'm going to stop here, and if you wanted to, 2 pins is a good thing. I often do 2 pins, so I'm going to stop about here. It's not a very big gap, but that means it's less hand stitching, or gluing even, or machining. I think I machined my sample one, but you could of course hand stitch it. Okay, so let's just have a little look-see. Oh, nearly. There we go. So there's a project. Now I'm going to get my pinking shears. I do love a pinking shear. How are you all doing? Are you all okay? Donna says, oh, hi Lizzie. Hi Donna, how are you? Judith says, managed a quick cuppa in the garden. It was lovely. Oh, for goodness sake, isn't it gorgeous when the sun comes out? Patsy says, I was just outside with a neighbourhood freeloading cat. I've named her Butter. She's as slippery as butter. Right, so where we've got the turning gap, we are absolutely not trimming anything away, okay? We're not trimming anything on that turning gap. And if you're not sure where it is, do yourself a really good reminder, okay? A really good reminder of where it is. So you kind of bring your pinking shears in, if you've got pinking shears, and just trim a smidge away. A smidge in mathematical terms is 2 mil. Oh dear. Yeah, a smidge is a smidge, surely. We know what smidge is. It's like butter. Oh, Rosina says, my Benina is at the doctor's, really missing her. My spare is not up to scratch, but better than nothing. Trouble is, Rosina, as you well know, if you've owned a Benina or any other super machine, yeah, they really do you a good job. They really do. And you do miss them because they can go through things other machines struggle with. It's all to do with the engineering, obviously, the motor size, all that sort of stuff. But I must admit, a Benina is... well, I love my Jukies, of course, but I do have Beninas too. And they're all lovely for whatever reason. Yep, for whatever reason, they're all lovely. So you might find this a little tough going if you've got weak hands. If you've got little hands like, was it Patsy that got little hands? You might find it tough to go through all the wadding, the layers, but it's really worth it. Pink and shears are very underrated. Okay, so there's our lovely project, our lovely Acacia, and like I say, the hole is really small. So I'll start and then I might go to the front view, because I know I might struggle. I'd hate to see you. I'd hate you to see me shoving and poking and throttling this. Yes, I could make the hole bigger, but there'd be no fun, would there? There'd be no fun in watching me try to get this out. In some places, they call this birthing. They call it birthing the bag if they're making a bag. I think that's not nice. I said that to somebody once and the look on her face, well, yeah, it kind of says it all really. It's like, oh my God, that's disgusting. But that's what some people call it, birthing the bag. Kind of get that. Anyway, so let's see if we can... I'm getting on okay, actually. I'm not really struggling. It just looks like I am, but I'm not. And if you have poorly hands, so if you've got arthritic hands or hands that, you know, not up to the mark these days, and let's face it, we're all getting a little bit older, then for goodness sake, make a bigger turning gap. Don't listen to me. Just don't struggle either. Come on, you can do it. There we are. Right, oh, now this is interesting. I'm so pleased this happened. Right, let me just get my pokey tool. Okay, so once we get this all pushed out, I want you to have a look at this. Because what has happened is what I just said 15 minutes ago, that sometimes that's what happens and you think, I've ruined it. I'm never going to make one of these again. It's rubbish. What was I doing? But all you've got to do is push that pocket round to the other side. Okay? And then you've got your project. Yeah, Jackie says, horrible expression. Yes, it is, Jackie. It's really horrible. I don't like it either. And you'd never hear me saying it apart from telling you guys that that's what I'd heard. Any little threads that come through, you just give it a little snip and give it a little trim. So don't forget, with all that quilting, you might have lots of little ends that you thought didn't matter, but they come through, which is fine. You just cut them off. You haven't failed. Oh, that's handy. I meant to do that the other side. So if you can remember, do your closing gap opposite your tab. Yeah? Opposite your tab. So much easier. But hey ho, we live with what we've done. So what we need to do now is give this a little press. And the idea is that you can press in that 1/4 inch seam allowance, thereabouts, don't panic over it. And top stitch it. So I've got my sew flat. Now, I'm running out, Abigail. Don't know if you can see. Oh, there's the doorbell. I haven't got much left Just, I don't know, you can see 1.5 inches. Is that the Amazon man again? How many parcels does this man need? It's not me. Yes, Abigail, I'm running out of So Flat. Pina Colada. I was wanting to try the other one. What's the other one that the ladies were raving about? Was it Bakewell Tart or something? No. What was it? I can't remember. So a little bit of a spray. If you've got Best Press, use that. There's another one on the market, isn't there? By somebody else. I can't remember. Gosh, getting worse now, ladies. What are you going to do when I'm sitting here and I can't remember anything? Then what are you going to do? Somebody's going to have to prompt me. I'm going to have a helper. I'll have to get Adrian or Abigail to come round and do the words for me, and I'll just do the stitching, because I don't think I'll ever forget to do stitching, whatever happens. Yeah, so there's a little thread there, look. There, it's gone now. So doesn't it look different? Bakewell Tart, that's the one. Bakewell Tart. So hopefully, if Abigail's still watching, she'll organise me a Bakewell Tart. Anyway, enough of that. So it's not bad with this tab here, because we've already stitched it in, it kind of automatically sits in, so it's not a disaster. What we've got to do is just make sure that we've taken this lining over by about 1/4 inch, right, and then just literally encase it like that. And look, that's sat there beautifully now. So we just need to top stitch it. So we just pop it under the machine. I mean, obviously it's open all the way along here, but look, if you have a look, it sits quite nicely. Look, I mean, that's just stunning. So by all means hand stitch that so you can't see the top stitching. But there we are. So I did the top stitching on here. You can't see that. And obviously, in fact, that could do with a good press. Obviously, you can hand stitch it and, you know, finishing it off nicely that way. And I tell you what I thought, you know, I think I said it in the tips and suggestions. If you were making this for somebody, you could do some of your gorgeous embroidery work on here, on your machine. Do a gorgeous piece of embroidery, and then, oh my gosh, it would look amazing, wouldn't it? So we'll just top stitch this little bit here, and then we're done. And we got like, it's like 3 minutes. So although it's a little make, do you know what? You can make this in 15 minutes. But my job is to entertain and to keep you all happy. So under here, now you might find your machine struggles, in which case you're going to hand stitch, right? So don't be forcing your machine to do things it doesn't want to do. So one back stitch so it's neat. Tuck that, so get that handle so it's sticking out, look. You want the handle sticking out, and then it'll automatically fold in not too badly. All the way across. Use your stiletto to hold those layers together. And come in a little bit more than you think you should, okay? And that way you'll catch all your layers. So I'm saying about 1/16 of an inch. I think I'm about there, but I'm going to do one back stitch, and that's all I'm going to do. Lynn says, I need to make one for the lorry. You absolutely do. What lorry? What lorry? Have I missed something? Do you mean the motorhome? Right, so we've obviously top stitched this with the tab hanging out, but like I said, if you listen to Lizzie, you'll have your turning gap this side, okay? Anyway, so there we are. And so you've got a lovely, lovely, pretty outer, which then becomes the inner. And then whatever you want on the inside of the pockets, you could have the same fabric, couldn't you? So it's all the same. Or you could have contrast like I've done, kind of picked up the pink a little bit. But yeah, a nice little make, isn't it? Really nice little make. So I hope you enjoyed that. if you're not sure of all the things I said about the group and what you can and can't do and or want to do or this, that and the other, just rewind this and look back at the beginning. So now I've got 2, guys. I'm so happy. I've got 2. So 1 for the motorhome, maybe. 1 for the house, maybe. Maybe 2 for the motorhome or 2 for the house. But I'm very happy with them. The thing about doing a Making It Monday is completely and utterly selfish on my part, because everything that I have designed for you, and I think Kath's the same, everything I've designed for you are things that I needed. Oh, which reminds me, we had a mim, obviously I can't remember the name of it, and it's Friday. It's our Jackie did it as our Friday focus, so then I should know what it is, but of course I've forgotten. It's the water carrier with the crossover strap. Well, obviously I made a couple, make one for the pattern, make sample on the video, and I gave one of them they were a bit flowery because it was this time last year, it's probably June, and I gave one to my dad because he asked for something to carry his Guinness in. Juicy Lucy, thank you Jackie, thank you Kath, shouting at me, thank you. Juicy Lucy. That's the pattern. Anyway, I gave one to my dad and I said to him, look Dad, have this as a temporary and I'll do you one that's a bit more manly. He said, no, this is perfectly fine. I don't mind flowers. So he's been wearing it, and what he does, he goes up in his stair lift with his can of Guinness, because every morning at 11:30 he goes up to his photo room. Yes, he has a photo room. It's only a little box room really. He goes up in his stair lift for his photo room, and for about an hour he'll sit and look through his photos. He has thousands and thousands and thousands, and he takes his can of Guinness up in his stair lift in his Juicy Lucy. Win-win. I think that's brilliant. Do you think Sherry would fit in there? Maybe. Right, yes, bless him, bless him. I'm not saying he gets down the stair lift as well as he went up, but never mind, enough of that. Thank you very much for watching. It's been absolutely, oh, who says this? Jeanette, making a Juicy Lucy for your scooter. Jeanette, it's absolutely perfect because your crossbody, if you know, it's safe. You got your water or your juice, your sherry, Guinness in there, safe as houses. And of course, I think from memory, there's a little pocket you could put a couple of pounds in just in case you need to get a bit of money quick. It'll go under your coat. If you need a coat, it'll go under your coat. So yeah, it's a good little pattern, that one. Right, I shall see you all again soon. If you are in my members group, in my gold or platinum members group, I will see you all on Thursday. And I can't remember what we're doing Thursday. It might be, actually, I think it's Kath's night with me. Yeah, we're doing something completely different on Thursday, so watch out for that. I've just remembered, yes, it is Thursday with Kath, and we're both making something, okay? So that'd be worth joining in if you're a member. If you're not a member, join up. It's just a great place to be. It really is. I can't praise it enough. The ladies are absolutely superb. I love them to bits. So there we are. I'll leave you to it. Have a lovely rest of your evening. I'm going to see what John has been getting from Mr. Amazon and I haven't.